Was the oldest and came up here in a, I guess you'd call it a prairie schooner. One of those covered wagons.
Right.
Because I think Grandpa John Cokel, I'm not sure, I never asked her about that, and I wish I'd have asked her more.
Yeah.
You know. But she was old, and Grandpa Henry had already died, and she was down at the house, and it was my job to go down there, talk to her, and check on her every evening, after school.
Right.
And she had all these stories.
Well, I'm going to let you tell about some of the stories you remember.
Oh.
I'm going to get you some water.
Yeah, I guess so. I like to talk.
Well, that's okay.
Small, and Mom and Dad had to go to the fields, for the farm. She would take care of me, because she was already old and couldn't do that much. She did her own over there and cooked for Grandpa and Grandpa Henry and that, but not much more. And the house was huge. I don't know if she's got the original Cokel book.
I do.
You do?
Yes, it has a picture of your house.
Oh, I wish I could find it. I should have gone through it, but they have a picture of, and I have a picture of Grandma Anna, great Grandma Anna, and John and his wife, whatever her name was. She was a Snyder.
Yeah, John.
Of Grandpa, I think Uncle Ted.
It wasn't Christiana was grandmother Cokel's name, wasn't it?
Christiana, okay, that's fine. I don't remember her that much because she was already dead when I was there.
Yeah,
And so was John,
Okay.
But I have a picture of them. I should find it and give it to y'all.
Well, you know what?
St. Paul's?
Mm-mm.
That is interesting.
I guess so.
If you sit down and study, Lord, they had about 12 sponsors.
I know.
You know why?
Why?
Because the death toll was so.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
You never know,
Sure. That's true.
down there. The death toll was so high at
And all the
first.
stuff that they had to go through. And
Right.
Yeah.
They have.
Down the gate again?
Yeah.
Should it go down the gate again?
It says here one that he was a sponsor to, I think on that thing. Pastor Killian was wonderful. He put down the sponsors and who they were and where they lived.
Oh, my word.
Yes.
My goodness.
Who the mother was and her maiden name, and who the father was, and all the sponsors and where they came from. So the last thing that I looked before I got sick, I was going to really examine it before I had this with the stomach. And I thought it said, shop owner or something, Warda. You know where Warda is? They scattered to Warda and Winchester and all that.
Yeah. Lincoln.
And I thought it said on the last entry for John Cokel before they moved up here that he was a shop owner at Warda.
Shoddy, okay.
But Schultz is the ones that she kept up with.
Okay.
Because Shoddy, he was a alcoholic. Not very pleasant to be married to and to be his children. She had a hard life. That's why Mama said, Valjean, when I married your daddy, I thought I'd died and gone to heaven. Because the Betkes were kind to their wives.
Right. as opposed to what she was used to.
Right, right,
Yeah.
yeah. Micken, they knew John Micken down there in Serban.
Come around the front door is actually
And-
on the other side.
He married a Nitch,
Okay,
which is,
thanks.
he married a Nitch, and they heard there was good land up here, lots of trees. And they were starting a Lutheran church up here.
Why don't you keep the telephone with you,
Well, that was all he needed to know, so he,
Patricia?
Hey, it's okay, they're coming.
You sure?
Sister, is that
Brother.
correct?
Yeah.
Brother, yeah. My mother was
Brother.
his sister.
yeah.
your mother was a Kokel, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, right, okay. And
But I
his-
don't know where Helmut fitted in. They had so many children.
No, Daddy and, there was only Daddy and Uncle Herbert, Granny and Granddaddy had. They only had 2 boys.
Then I'm not thinking,
You're thinking of maybe Walter, Uncle Ernst Kokel.
yes, Ernst
had a
Kokel
bunch.
Jr.
And then
Wasn't it?
Junior, then there was Junior too. They had
Yeah.
twins.
We're gonna have a dinner over there.
Law,
Yeah.
they had a whole bunch. I have a
Yeah.
picture of the whole family,
I don't
wherever
remember.
it went.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
think Daddy
that's
said
one I have too. I've got one of those and.
big.
The
yeah,
whole, the
because
children and, I mean, their
And
children
there's-
and their wives.
Oh,
I
no, this
wanna-
just was his children and their spouses.
Yes,
Oh,
that's
one
it,
that I have.
the spouses.
Yeah, 'cause I think Daddy said they were like about, Uncle Ernst had about 11 or 12 boys and
Yes.
then 1 girl,
Yeah.
Evelyn Copeland.
Yes.
She married to Roschke, Ben Roschke.
Yes, and I remember old Max Micken. You remember him?
Yeah, her.
He always fussed with all those boys. He ought to send them out to work. That's all he could talk about.
Doesn't that sound about par for the course?
It does.
Yeah, Daddy
But
said.
I reserve my right to know Max Micken because I got an earful from Mama, so Grandma, from Grandma. So anyway, and I was too much in love and dumb to listen. But anyway,
well.
that's water over the bridge.
Yeah.
They came up in the prairie schooner because they heard John Micken, who married a Nitch.
Okay.
And I think you'll see in the Pastor Killian's book that the Mickens first lived in LaGrange, and he went over there, as a pastor of the circuit. He'd go down there.
Okay. Okay.
So John Micken and his Nitch
Uh-huh.
came up here and they settled. You know that old rundown shack of a house down there? You know where Kelms live? Okay, go back here on this first S. And you look down there and you'll see an old house. I think
Okay.
it might be falling down now.
Okay.
That was a beautiful house at first. And that was John Micken's house.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And he owned, I don't know, all that acreage, all the way. You know? So, anyway, I think you could buy it for a couple of dollars an acre, you know?
Yeah, right. Right.
And that was a lot of money back then for them too. That's
Sure.
about like what
Right.
now
right.
is in a way.
But
you know?
anyhow, Coco and Christiana, they moved up here and I asked them, well, where did you sleep? She said, Mama put out a feather bed in the middle of the
Floor.
wagon,
Oh, okay.
and then they had to all sleep. She and I think 2 other brothers or 3 other brothers had to sleep with their feet together, heads apart,
Oh,
all the
really?
way around.
Round?
Yeah.
Huh.
And I remember her saying, I said, they went by, she told me, they went by, what is that big old flat land over there, San Gabriel, Circleville's here. then the river and all that
Right,
flat
flat
land
land,
and all that.
Right.
And I said, oh, why didn't y'all buy all that beautiful black land over there?
Uh-huh.
She said, Daddy, there were no trees.
Really?
They couldn't build, it was nothing but prairie grass at that time.
Really? I'll be. And now it's
And she
concrete
said
and all
they wanted land where there was trees, they could build. You saw that first cabin in that old
Yeah.
Focal book?
Uh-huh.
Okay, they wanted land with trees.
Trees.
So that's why they started not over here. Grandpa Cokel started way back there.
Uh-huh.
Is it between Gerald and
Florence
Florence?
in there.
That house used to stand there, and the chimney stood there for maybe until about 10 years ago, and then it fell down. But you know, you can imagine them coming. Well, let me get back.
Okay.
I may run your tape out.
I have a backup camera, don't worry. I'm prepared.
Oh, boy.
But anyhow, they stopped one night, not one night, but they stopped because they knew John Micken had come up here in that house over there. And she said, we spent the night there in the wagon, but we were so scared. She said that there was all sorts of people, Mexicans, Indians. She said, I don't know. Daddy said there was robbers and everything else down there. This was a crossing for Possum Creek.
Uh-huh.
And I looked it up, and there was some kind of a trail from Round Rock, just east of Round Rock, east of 1460.
Okay.
And I guess it just went right through here to Nacogdoches.
My goodness.
Yeah, so this was raw land, you know. But anyhow, she said they stopped over there one night, and then they went on to where they're supposed to go.
Which is where?
Huh?
Where are they supposed to go?
Where were they supposed to go?
Between Gerald and Florence?
Between Gerald and Florence, and I can drive by there right now and show you where, but the house and that is all.
All gone.
They had Grandma said they had a one-room house,
Right.
Oh,
Right.
dirt floor. I always wondered why she went barefooted.
barefooted. Then now you know why.
Now I know. She always went barefooted, even in the wintertime,
Yeah.
Oh.
you know.
Uh-huh.
Anyhow, and a dirt floor, Grandma says, and then they'd cook by the fireplace.
Uh-huh.
And she and her brothers, they had, John built them a loft. And she said, one morning I remember where we woke up and we had snow on us. You know those wood shingles that
Yeah.
he's,
Oh, yeah.
it creaked through that, and we had snow on us. And I said, how'd you keep warm? Well, Grandma, that first year it was pretty cold.
I guess so.
We had corn shuck mattresses,
Uh-huh.
you know. And then I know she said that they raised geese. And I remember that, you know, plucking those darn geese feathers, you know, to make a feather bed. And that was warm.
That was.
But anyway, she went to school at, they called it Salou, but that's
Salado?
part of Salado Creek.
Okay. Uh-huh.
You know, they could go, even today, you can see, if you drive there, their place was over here and just a little bit of rocky soil over there that was planted and the rest was all trees. And then they had a little stream over there. And she said they went and got their water down at the creek.
Creek then.
But then she had to walk to school, and nobody spoke German. So she learned English
In a hurry.
until the day she had to go into a nursing home. she demanded her Austin American Statesman from the mailbox. She read it, and then she read some of my books,
Oh,
Goodness.
you know, and she was a reader.
And this was my mother's, she was the eldest.
oh,
She
okay.
was the oldest, and that's, she
Oh.
knew English and German,
Coming down.
you know. So, anyway.
Mm.
And she'd tell us sometimes, and then Grandpa built her daddy built a wooden trough, you know, like I don't know if you've seen them, maybe you have in old Western movies or so, these wooden troughs, oblong,
Quilt box.
they'd have to carry the water up there to the trough.
Oh,
For the
yeah.
cows
Oh, yeah.
And she said, every now and then, she said, we were assured that Texas Rangers chased the Comanches out. But she said, every now and then they'd come by.
Oh,
But she said they were peaceful. But you had to hold on to your horses or your geese or something because
they
they'd
would
steal them.
Yeah.
wow.
Anyway,
That was what, about 1880?
somewhere
Five.
1880, 1890, I don't know.
Because
I'd have to
Granddaddy,
look
I
back.
think Granddaddy was born here in Texas. I
Yeah.
think down around Lee County someplace, I want to think.
There were, I think, 3 boys.
Uh-huh.
Grandma and then either 2 or 3 boys.
Oh, that were,
Born down at
oh,
Zerbin.
down here? Oh,
Down
okay.
at Zerbin
Oh, down there.
before they came up.
Oh,
Mm-hmm.
okay.
And then she told me that, yeah, they went to church over here, but they'd have to hook up their horses and have everything ready to leave just as daylight was breaking to
So
get
they'd
here
get here
to
in
church.
Mm.
With their horses and wagon. But everybody else, or some of these people, they'd all bring their lunch.
Uh-huh.
Something to eat, and they'd have church service, and then they'd spread out their meal and eat, and then in the afternoon they had Bible class.
Hmm.
And then everybody went home again, so they'd get home right before
For
dark.
dark, isn't that something? Yeah. I'll be.
That was their Sundays.
Uh-huh. Wow. Could you see anybody doing that now?
Can you imagine? We can't even get there in 5 minutes.
Yeah. I know.
I'm afraid to in the morning. Anyway, so what
Oh,
else can I
man.
tell you? She had stories galore.
Yes.
I bet.
And every now and then, you know, Cornhill. Not this Cornhill.
Oh, not this. Okay, yeah.
the
I heard there
other
was
first
another
one over there at I-35
Okay, yeah.
and close to that rest stop. She said they even had a university there.
Oh.
They had a school, and then if you wanted to go more than your 8th grade, you could go over there for more schooling.
Wow.
But then when she said when the railroad came through,
Then
that all disappeared. Because then they all moved,
moved from there.
yeah, to where the
Railroad
railroad
was
was.
then, yeah.
So, anyway, but she says, I remember going to Cornhill with Daddy sometimes. And then I don't know, I guess he found a buyer for all his acreage out there, because that's when he went over here moved over here.
Okay.
He moved over here, and then he had enough money to, instead of a 1-room dirt floor cabin, he built her a big house. You remember pictures of
I
it?
remember hearing stories of the big house, but
Yeah, it was a
Where-
2-story house, and
Yeah.
where
real
was that-
fancy.
Where was that at? I know it was east of Wahlberg, but wasn't it?
It was down there by Possum Creek.
That's
Right,
what I
it was,
thought,
that
yeah.
whole
Yeah.
section Curtis bought from
Right.
C.G. Deering.
Right.
What is it, 200 and somewhat acres?
I think he
Oh,
said
and that-
something like that.
213 acres
Oh,
there.
so in that,
Yeah.
And then right by Possum Creek, he built her a big old house. And,
oh, so it's on the west side of Possum Creek. Well, I call west side, Walbert
well,
side.
yeah, Wahlberg side of Possum Creek. Yeah.
Not the other side, Granger side.
No.
Okay, oh.
That
okay.
little Possum Creek.
Okay,
See, there's Little Possum Creek, and then there is a Possum Creek that goes over here somewhere.
yeah, it comes
Yeah.
from us up here,
From from Theo
up there, yeah.
on down there. That's Possum Creek. But then, if you remember where I live, you remember that dip over there?
Yeah,
That was, we called that Little Possum Creek.
oh, okay, oh,
Everything,
Uh-huh.
trees and
yeah.
Yeah, I
Land.
said, boy, that house. You're at Rosie's front door. Do you remember her ornate glass front door?
the one on South Austin Avenue. Yeah. Yeah.
That was in that house.
Really? Oh, wow.
So I guess he appreciated his wife, so he's gonna build her the best he could.
I guess so.
Uh-huh.
Yeah,
God.
Wow.
but I think I have a picture of that. They're all like our old house. It was these big limestone rocks, square rocks, and that's what they put their things on. I mean, they put their boards on it.
Right.
And Beth-
Right. Yeah.
In fact, I've got the old home places rocks. I made a big asparagus bed, almost a little longer than this table, from those rocks
Rocks
from
then.
that old house.
Wow.
It was so built really funny. But we had 2 tornadoes go through there in my lifetime.
Wow.
And all it did was raise the linoleum off the floor, but it didn't move. I guess it was too
Too
heavy.
heavy, yeah,
yeah,
must
I
have.
think
or
so.
Because I
something.
know when I moved there, to stay with Mama, you had to drill a hole in the wall and then put a nail in it.
Yeah. Right.
It was so, I almost petrified with wood.
Yeah,
That's what it is.
By
of
force.
course.
Uh-huh.
And it was cold.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Mom and Daddy's house was
You-
that way too,
Yeah.
I know.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
man.
That's all the houses we were in.
That's right. Exactly.
And Christina Bullhorn. We went there, and that was a dog trot too.
Okay.
2 rooms on each side, and then they just added on.
Huh, okay, then that explains the house we lived in, just east of between Weir and Walbert. It had a big hallway in the center, and there was 2 rooms on either side.
Right.
That's what that was.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
That was, but
Huh, I'll have to tell Leon that.
Grandpa,
He should've
Grandpa closed it off.
come. He'd have learned something.
Yes, the economy was pretty good, and then what does he have? 5 boys
Yeah.
that could do. Oh yeah, Grandpa and Grandma had a big family. And I think 5 boys that are living and 2 girls. The girls did the sewing, I know.
I'm sure that explains.
They had to sew their own clothes all
Why,
the
certainly.
time.
Mama sewed all my clothes
Yeah.
until I got married.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Mama did too.
Sure.
Your mama sewed for me and Grandma,
Sure.
my grandma. I remember that. But anyway, Mama said that a lot of times, she said Grandma would say that they had lanterns, and they were sewing by the night at night. Because all those boys, they had to have pants.
Pants,
Yeah.
yeah.
Don't you know it? And they probably wore them out as fast as they could sew.
So too, yeah.
They were growing, but then they had little ones all the
That's
time.
true.
Yeah,
That was
so-
a good thing.
Yeah, that was a good thing. But I know they probably went barefooted just like Grandma did. I don't know.
Probably.
Because I have in the smokehouse, that Grandpa built, he had he put big old rock flooring in there. Not in the smokehouse section. That's where we did all of our
Smoking of your
smoking
meat,
of the sausage and
that. Yeah,
everything
that's what
like
ours
that.
was like that too.
Not in the, but on each side, on this side was the washroom, and it was all in big old rocks put on the ground. So there wasn't any mud when you spilled and tried to wash. And on the other side was rocks too, you know. But anyway, I'm wandering from my subject. I went in there.
That's okay.
I'm getting dry here.
There's your water. Joyce, could I get you some?
I told you.
water?
Just water.
Is that good?
Yeah.
I'm told Grandpa made all the boys' shoes.
Oh,
Girls' shoes. Oh yeah, to go to church on Sunday.
Oh, really?
They could wear their shoes. Grandma said they could wear their shoes on Sunday, or if they went to school.
Okay.
But they didn't let their boys go to school until I think Uncle Walter was the oldest. And they had lived out here, you know where, not Kenneth, but the other one. Marvin Kelm lives.
Oh, uh-huh.
Right behind there, the Bethkes owned all of that land. And you know where Walter and Risky's lived right here?
Over here, uh-huh.
Right here? Okay, that house
Thank
where
you.
they lived, they tore it down. That was a
Oh,
Bethke.
really?
That was a Bethke home.
Oh, really?
When they were a child, they were named, I think, their first name. But then when they were married, they changed it to their second name, and that was,
How
Hard to
strange
get-
is that?
and
Yeah.
it's strange, and you can hardly look up anywhere.
I
It
guess
was either Ferdinand or August.
Hmm.
One of the two.
depending upon your age or
Who
what.
yeah.
Well, you know, do you remember that old house that was right by the road? Not the brick house that was further down where Walter and his wife lived. Where the Cockrells live, or
Dale?
Glasscock.
Glasscock.
Glasscock's, okay, over there by you?
Okay.
Up there, uh-huh.
That was, to begin with, Emil Risky's.
Mm.
But really, it was Henry Bethke's sister married Emil Risky.
Oh.
So it was all
Connected.
brother and sister and all Bethke right there. Did quite well, and that's where all the big barn came from, and the barn was even bigger. But Daddy couldn't afford the wooden shingles on the big barn where, you know, they get old. And we couldn't afford all of that roofing. So we took off about a third of it. So anyway, you see only the third of what it was to begin with.
Oh.
So I have a picture of the Bethkes. I should scrounge through it and find it. That was where Henry, my mother, and Henry, my grandpa, and Hannah, my grandma, had a picture taken. But Walter was missing because Walter went to school. But all the rest of the boys were there, except my daddy hadn't been born yet.
Oh,
So anyway, it's... Oh, do you remember, maybe you don't, maybe you do, Little Possum Creek, you know, where you go down the dip and then go up to the mailbox and turn in?
By you?
150, uh-huh.
Yeah, 150.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, you turn off and then you go down that dip
Right,
and
right.
up there.
Uh-huh.
Okay, well, the Neiches, Oswald, a descendant of other Neiches that came up here from Serban and LaGrange, they lived out there. And I think Betty's great-grandfather lived out there too. And I can't remember all of them. Hobroch. And there were some more Bethkes, but they all died out. Had their kids going to school. And they had to walk. We did too the first few years. You remember how we all started from school, had a big flock, and then everybody slid it off everywhere?
Right.
Had a good time.
Kind of fun, wasn't it?
It was fun, boy. Yeah. And anyway, they had to go through that, and sometimes the Little Possum Creek was more water in it because nobody hardly lived up that way except, you know, a few houses. And the water went higher. And so those boys got together, those men got together, Grandpa and some of those guys, and they went to Williamson County, but Williamson County didn't even take care of its roads yet. It was all mud. But they couldn't cross that creek safely
Right.
if it rained. So they asked, well, do you have some wood or something? We don't have any money for that, you know. So they bought some wood, timber, and they built a wooden bridge across Little Possum Creek. First big rain it came, and Grandma says it went
What,
down
down
to
the
Possum Creek. So they built another one. She says a couple of years later, down Possum Creek it went.
Go get the lumber.
Yeah,
Down yonder.
forget the lumber. So they went to, and Williamson County had already, yeah, they had roads, no graders, you know,
Yeah,
or
but-
anything like that. But they had dirt roads and things like that, and they had a little bit of money. So Williamson County said, all right, we'll buy the bags of cement if y'all build it. So that's what they did. Williamson County bought the cement, dumped it out there for these men, and they got together and they mixed it up, and it until, what was it? You know, when they built that bigger one, I mean that one that goes across the creek now.
Yeah.
But still, I had to always sometimes walk home from school. I loved it. Betty and I especially, and the night boys and girls, we'd love to splash in
In that water.
In that water.
Especially in the summer.
Yeah, in the
Would be
summer.
good.
But nobody got stuck anymore, you know?
Yeah. Well, that was good.
Anyway, and they had some cement bags left over. So they split it among themselves. They said, well, that's for our labor.
Right.
To this day, I still have a water trough sitting out there that Grandpa made for the cattle from that cement.
Wow. Isn't that?
Yeah. Of course, it doesn't hold any water anymore
but-
because I cut the water off from there. The cattle kept on nosing around.
Sure.
But I don't know, maybe you would know. It was, Grandpa was some kind of, I think, a genius in some ways. They had to be,
Yeah, absolutely.
because, huh?
Yeah, I'm just listening.
Okay, because that water trough was there in the middle of, not the middle of the pasture, but about 25 feet from the fence. And where the faucet was. And he got it to where he piped it so the water would go in the trough. But it was my job every evening. He had it where when it was full, it would come back and drip into a can. He had a paint can. And I had to empty the can, and it would turn on again in water, and when it was full, it would fill it up to that can again. How did he do that?
They were engineers for sure.
They
That's
were
right, before
engineers,
They
yes.
everybody knew what the word was.
You're right,
Did a vow.
yeah.
I mean, they made a vow.
I guess, I don't know, I just remember the spout going out from the,
When it floated, the calf floated a certain height, it would stop it.
and that weight, cows that were in the pasture and also for the horses. Oh, that's another thing. I hate horses. I have a phobia for horses.
I'm not real fond of them either. They're too big for me.
No, it left, I mean, it's for me for life. But anyhow, Grandpa had one of these shut-off things. That was my job to empty it every night. And one for the horses by the barn. But anyway, that was before I even started school. And I wanted to be a big person, you know. So, anyway, I wanted to get up with Grandpa and feed the horses with him. So I got up, what was it, the old time, 5 o'clock, the sun started coming up. Yeah. And Mama, I remember she was in the smokehouse getting some more bacon. You know, we put the bacon, we stored it in a
Crocs and that.
big old thing in fat. I remember her being there, but I thought I was really something. And I had my bonnet on, you know, because the sun was out. And my grandma Bethke would get after me if I didn't have a bonnet
You
on.
better believe
You
it.
got that right, mine did too.
The bonnet and the long sleeve shirts out in the sweat like everything in the field.
Long skirt is right, yeah, we did not wear
I
pants.
have a picture of my
No.
grandmother with her sisters back in the 1880s, and they
Bent on getting that corn out.
Right, that was so intense, and here comes this thing and starts chewing on my bonnet and choking me. Yeah. Oh. But that's one of the things I'll never forget about
guess.
Grandpa. You know, some things I think he was a genius in inventing things.
Right, right.
So of course I was angry with my daddy sometimes because I had to go out and help him.
Right.
And I couldn't figure something out. He says, well, I'm going to go over here. You figure it out.
And you had to figure it out.
I had to figure it out.
Right.
And sometimes I did, and then sometimes I didn't. And he'd come back, and then he'd very patiently told me, this is the way you do this, and that's the way you do that. You know.
Right.
But it helped me during my lifetime
Sure, sure. Yeah.
to be independent.
Yeah. Right. In different aspects of
yeah.
life, different
Yes.
areas.
Different things you did.
Yes.
Say, well, now how do I remember doing? You know, she would have me to sit and do the basting while she did the stitching with the machine. And, you know, years later when Joe was in the service and was overseas and I was at home and he sent me a piece of beautiful wool from Scotland and it was plaid. And I remember Mama saying, well, now you got to match this
I remember
very
hearing-
carefully.
Yeah.
You know,
Stripes,
and I had to
thing.
try to remember, but I got it put together.
Good.
I really did. I think I still have the dress upstairs. I saved it just because.
Yeah.
Good memories.
Just because, yeah.
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 That's about it, Granny and Granddaddy, that's all that I can, I remember. And
Where
that.
did they live? Over here out on
They started out over here.
971?
71 there, they were neighbors to Max Micken and that.
Yeah.
And that all, and I remember Daddy talking one time. They were, I don't know how old they were, but the dogs were out and barking, you know, and it was dark outside, you know. Had been already in bed, I guess, and so him and Granddaddy and Uncle Herbert grabbed their guns and in their white underwear. Okay, go trotting up the road, checking where them dogs are, and see what they had treat or whatever. Well, they were coming back, and way Daddy talked, Uncle Herbert didn't always run that fast or walk that fast in a way. There was a light coming up behind them on the road.
Oh.
Yeah, he said Uncle Herbert took off running and got under. All he seen was his light popping, boing.
I know, it's,
You know, and they all hit the ditch and car went by, didn't stop. They made it back to the house. I don't know if they ever found, I don't remember what the dogs had treed, but they had found something. I just remember him talking about that, telling us every once in a while.
yeah.
Yeah.
Couple.
Helma.
And Frances was your mom.
Mom,
And the family member that was my mother's sibling was
John.
John, and that was your daddy's father.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. We got to put all the pieces of this puzzle together.
No, there's a
Okay.
Yeah. A lot there will be. Yeah.
And I still have a picture of myself when I was 6 years old in that pretty white flower girl dress at
Really?
your mom and dad's wedding.
Oh,
I'm going to find it before the reunion.
Yeah.
I know it's here because I've seen it.
I think we have one too. I think. Most of their pictures burnt up, but then they'd gotten some from other families.
yeah.
You know, that had
Replacements.
pictures, like that. But
uh-huh.
I think
Well-
there is one that you might be in the whole group, I think, that
Okay.
was in the wedding, but
Okay.
I'm not sure.
Wow.
oh yeah, they had a band. And Julius, I think, played the French horn, and Grandpa played the trumpet.
Harold's daddy played in some band too for, I don't know if it was that same one, but I remember him talking
I don't
about
know,
it.
it
and
was
I-
way back there
And
in
I
the
think Ben Dunk,
80s.
okay, and Ben Dunk again was in the one with him, so that might
Yeah,
have been
but that
later
was
on.
already
Later on.
the
then.
later generation.
Yeah.
This first one, they used the band because they had no organ.
Oh.
Okay. At the church?
Uh-huh.
Ah.
Okay.
So they used the band.
Uh-huh.
And I remember as a little one, I'm talking and taking it all away from you.
No. I'm glad to hear this because I never heard some of this
I
stuff.
hadn't
I've
either.
never
Okay,
heard this,
well-
so that's fine.
Grandpa and Grandma, as I told you, the more kids he had, the more rooms he added to the house.
Uh-huh.
So, you know, that dog trot, he closed that up, and that was called the parlor. And when I was little, they had the kitchen on this side for Mom and Dad and a bedroom. And they had a kitchen and all the bedrooms back there. And the dining room was right after that dog trot, he'd put another room on, you know, and that was a dining room. But anyway, Grandma said, my mother, not my grandmother, but my mother said, when the boys would come, they were all taught some kind of a musical instrument. That's where Uncle Ted got his
Okay.
music.
Right.
Because Grandma, my mother said that when the boys and their wives and the two girls came, she said Grandma would always fuss. When Grandpa and she went to church, come sumita, come sumit, come to dinner.
Come to dinner.
Come to
right.
dinner.
So he invited all of his children to the house, so she had to go out there and
Cook.
she had to cook. Of course, the women helped
Help
her.
did that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but
but
still.
She had to butcher 2 hens, Grandma's mama said.
Yeah.
That's just like a man. doesn't it?
And they finally ate dinner about 4 o'clock or so.
I'll believe that. Yeah.
My Grandpa Henry, he had an organ. You stomp on it, what's that, pipe
Yeah.
organ? Whatever.
Pump organ.
Pump organ. He had a pump organ and he could play it by himself. He had a harmonica. He had an accordion.
Oh my word.
And then he had that trumpet.
Wow. Wow.
They were a musical family, and my grandma said, "Yeah, the house was really rocking." That's when I was a teenager,
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
and Elvis Presley and all
yeah,
that,
yeah.
you know, and we were just going gaga, you know. And she said, "Yeah, you should have been back there, born back there. The house was really rocking, and everybody made their own music." So anyway,
Too bad they couldn't have recorded it.
I know it.
but
Yeah.
see, this is where Uncle Ted,
Uh-huh.
my Uncle Ted,
Right.
he was the one with all the allergies.
Okay.
So of all the boys, he was picked to be either the teacher or the preacher. That's what they did back there.
I know.
Oh,
That's all. Yeah, that's
wow.
all there was.
That's how they picked one child.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
So they had no choice, the kids had no choice as to what you wanted to do in a way then,
No,
I guess.
right.
Because
Well-
Mom
And the other kids kind of resented it,
yeah.
you
Sure.
know.
Sure.
But he came back and he went to teachers college.
Right.
Let's see. From Kelm's place, I think Daddy said Granny and Granddaddy then moved out towards Granger, north of Granger, off of 195.
Okay.
Between Granger and Bartlett, there's, and that was, I guess, where he then got drafted, where he left for the service at that time, because they had lived out there. When he came back, then they had sold that place and moved south to Schwetner
Okay.
and bought that place, and that's then.
Your daddy was in the service?
Yeah, he was in World War II in England. He served, and I can't remember the name of the town that he was at, but it was in World War II. Yeah, yeah. He had to land planes, take off, things like that, for them to take off, and then he said it was very scary.
I can
You
imagine.
never knew. He said if a plane would land on you or not, you know, at night, and then.
117 years ago. But anyway, when they moved over there, they had first that well and water from the, that drained off the roof
Yeah.
and went into the well. In the
Tractor.
English language, the English letters, I have a hard time reading.
Right.
But I learned this: Gebete für jeden Sohn und täglich the smaller children.
Okay. Okay.
But that's interesting because I learned to read a little of it when I was in college, taking German, and I'm totally gone.
Yeah.
Here is all these sponsors. See, there's what? Johann Schwausch, Carl Buhorn. Who's that? K-U-N.
I
I
can't
don't know
see
who
it
that is.
because
Albert Andrus, Adolf Andrus, Anna Bethke, Magdalena Schneider, Hedwig Kasprick, Emma Teinert. Now, my grandmother, my daddy's mother, is Emma Teinert. And Teresa Kasprick.
Okay, and Hedwig
Kasparic. Yeah.
Hattie. See, my mother's name was Hedwig,
Hedwig too.
but she never wanted anybody, or she didn't want to be
Called.
written over there because she said they all asked me. She went to work in Austin when she was 16.
Okay.
And she said, I couldn't use my name in Austin. They did Hedwig.
What is that? Yeah.
What is that? You know.
I hear you.
So she changed it to Hattie and signed Hattie from then on, and
Yeah.
that's the way it is.
Yeah.
Maybe
Imagine,
so.
because my daddy was born like a year before Mama.
Zeke.
They were born 1890s,
Yeah.
and they came over 1858.
Emma Teinert. Albert Andrus. I don't know. But a lot of these came, I think, originally from Serbian
Uh-huh,
and Warda.
yeah, yeah.
Of course,
Yeah.
Anna Bethke. Now she was
Yeah,
from Poland.
okay,
I mean, Grandpa Ferdinand August,
okay.
my great grandfather.
Mm-hmm.
He came over from. It used to be Gdansk,
Okay.
Poland. I don't
Okay,
know what they
okay.
call it now. Gdansk.
No idea.
Gdansk. Anyway, he was a businessman over there,
Okay.
you know, and there's a picture of him, you know, in his nice suit and everything.
Mm-hmm.
And he came to, I think, Munich or somewhere. He heard there's a boat going to America. So he was gonna take it.
No, no.